Hi, this is Lane, 8492. This is the second of two true crime video stories I'm doing today. This was a case of what I saw in FBI files called Dead Run, Wicked Attraction, Beyond the Wire, and even Killer Couples. And usually I don't go tell the story about difficult lives that these criminals face because to me, the difficult lives that these criminals grew up with is not an excuse for them to go out and wrench the life away from somebody else. Like when I once explained the difficult life last year of what Loran Kinsley Cole endured being at the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys, because it's not an excuse for them to do what they did. Now, this one was of this couple, 21-year-old Bradley Martin and 27-year-old Carolyn Ann King. And usually here's how I'll start it. You see, according to Wicked Attraction, Beyond the Wire, that episode, Bradley Martin was born in 1972 in a quiet, peaceful Amish community of Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Raised by loving parents, but according to that episode, it said that in the episode of Wicked Attraction, Beyond the Wire, it said Bradley Martin was sexually abused by an uncle between the ages of 13 and 15, which of course violated his trust, and the horrible uncle who did it violated his family's trust, and Bradley Martin never told anybody about it, and his parents don't understand why that Bradley Martin is becoming angry, irritable, and hostile, and Bradley Martin ends up turning to crime and drugs, and rehab doesn't even help him. And Bradley Martin becomes detached to abuse and violence. And of course, he ends up sentenced to 23 months for burglary at a Lebanon County prison, which is a work release program, and ends up working at a chocolate factory in Palmyra, Pennsylvania. And there, Bradley Martin winds up meeting 27-year-old Carolyn Ann King. Of course, Carolyn Ann King was born Carolyn Ann King was born Carolyn Ann Ewell in 1965 in Manassas, Virginia. And she was raised by her grandparents, but of course, she had a rough upbringing too. And she was sexually abused by a friend of a relative. And just like Bradley Martin, her trust was violated as well. Carolyn King didn't find happiness in her marriage and ended up abandoning her husband and 4 kids. And in that chocolate factory in Palmyra, she met 21-year-old Bradley Martin. They decided to be together at what costs. And on the day that Bradley Martin used a 2-hour pass to meet up with her, he decides he's not going back. And first, Bradley Martin and Carolyn King ended up murdering 74-year-old World War II veteran, retired florist, Guy Goodman. They took his car, his credit card, and some of his checks and took off and skipped town. And the credit card was seen being used in Ohio, Iowa, and the last area, Rapid City, South Dakota. Then in Bismarck, North Dakota, they discovered that a 59-year-old tour bus guide, Donna Martz, had vanished. This where Guy Goodman's checks were passed, and it turned out Carolyn King was in the lobby where Donna Martz was having her continental breakfast, and as a result, Bradley Martin and Carolyn King abducted her and put her in the trunk of her car and took off. And then her card was being used in areas like Montana, Nevada, and California. And the problem was the police were still way behind trying to catch up to him, but then eventually they were able to, knowing that after Bradley Martin and Carolyn King used Donna Martz's car at a hotel in San Diego after checking out, they were able to pinpoint that they'll be headed for El Centro. And there, the California Highway Patrol is on the lookout for Donna Martz's Chrysler New Yorker that has North Dakota license plates. And there, one of those California state troopers, Richard Chambers, is on the lookout for the vehicle. And when he sees what was a Chrysler New Yorker, he turns around and goes behind and discovers it is indeed the vehicle because it has North Dakota license plate. And of course, Carolyn King was driving the vehicle. And as a result, he then puts on the siren and they accelerate, hoping to escape. And of course, Bradley Martin sticks his head out, uses a handgun, and open fires doing whatever it takes to get away. The chase goes on into Yuma, Arizona, after Martin and Carolyn King ran 2 stop signs, but then after running the 3rd stop sign, they end up crashing. And of course, Bradley Martin and Carolyn King get out of the vehicle and make a run for it, but only got a few feet when California State Policeman Richard Chambers pulls out his gun and tells them to stop. And of course, Carolyn King was the first to stop and surrender. Bradley Martin kept running, and Carolyn King begged him to stop. And they were both arrested. And of course, Bradley Martin and Carolyn King pled guilty to the murder of Donna Martz in Nevada and got life imprisonment. And then Bradley Martin and Carolyn King were tried for the Palmyra, Pennsylvania murder of Guy Goodman and got death sentences. But now Bradley Martin and Carolyn King's death sentences were commuted to life, which they're currently serving in separate Pennsylvania prisons. Well, hope you enjoy this video and let me know what you think. Thanks.